Hello, dear Taras.
Hello.
So we are so happy to have you here in the International Panflute Academy studio.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
So you are now studying in Netherlands, but you are born in Switzerland.
Exactly. Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we will talk today almost everything about you. So first at all, we would like to know how you draw to the panflute.
Yeah, it's a good question. I would like to know that too. It's a bit of unconventional story. It started when I was almost 5 years old, and my parents were asking what kind of presents I want, and I told them that I would want the music instrument with the tubes, which are stick together. And at the beginning, they didn't really know what I meant, and they were searching online, and then they found the panflute and asked me if it's a panflute. I said, yes, exactly. And my godmother, she had a friend that worked in a kids' music instrument store. So they gifted me for my 5th birthday like this small panflute of 1 octave. And yeah, that's how I started. I had this small instrument and I just played on my own a bit.
But what is your story? How you discovered the panflute? How you came to this panflute to choose, yes, I want this present, but how? Because I know panflute players who had a dream that they play panflute and second day they start to learn panflute. How you discovered the panflute?
That I don't know, because my parents also, we were asked this question a lot and they were thinking us a lot about it. I didn't hear before like panflute, we didn't go to a concert, or like my parents are also not like musicians, so I didn't really have direct contact. So I don't know if somewhere I once saw it maybe, and that's how I picked it up. But it's just, that is all that we know, that I wanted the instrument with the tube stick together.
And the sound also you never heard before?
I was 5 years old then, so I don't remember. And my parents also don't. We were looking through our CDs. We don't really have CDs with panflute music, or like we didn't have before. So it's not really clear where I got it from. But yeah, somehow it came to me, and I'm happy that it did.
I will call this the calling. You know, I had also a story with the calling when I start panflute. Yeah, very strange, but this is it. Yeah, George Sanfier call it like this. This is the calling from God. We say He sent you, and you are here with the beautiful technique that you create by yourself after many teachers, and that's to believe that somewhere somebody sent you the sign to play panflute in your life. So who was your first teacher?
Yeah, that was quite a difficult task also for my parents, because at the beginning I was playing on my own, just really playing with the instrument. I didn't have scores or didn't have any musical background. And my parents were looking quite a long time in our region in Switzerland, and nobody wanted to teach me. We're 5 years old, because I was too young. So they found then a teacher in a school who does like teach different activities, and she was a teacher that also taught panflute. She did it more as a hobby herself, if I remember correctly. And there I started, I think, the first year, where I really just started with very basic children melodies. But when I went to school, I changed to a retired flute player that also played the pan flute in the region next to it. And with him, I really started to have a lot of lessons. Also, lessons where I started to try different music, so not only children music, but also a bit of Romanian. And then the first name in the music scene was Pederici.
Pederici.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. He was at that time also teaching the saxophone at the conservatory.
Great panflute players.
Yes,
also.
Absolutely. Yeah. And there he wrote on his website that for all ages he would teach.
He made a promotion.
Yes. Yes, but he was then also surprised when my parents wrote, and I was, I think, 8 years old at that time, if he could teach me.
Unbeliever.
Yeah, and he also was 8 years old. It's a difficult instrument to start, especially at that age.
And also concentration.
Yeah. So everybody always said I should start with the recorder, and I didn't want to play anything else. I wanted the pan flute, and then we had one lesson. Where I played for him and we talked a bit, and he decided then to be my teacher. And then I had the first lessons, and there he really started also to give me more inputs for techniques, and really that started to form me even more concrete. And then when I was 10, I met Raluca at the Panflute Festival in Arosa by the Yuri.
Arosa Festival.
Yeah, exactly. And there we started to talk. My parents, I think, also knew of him before online. And he came up with the idea that, he lives in Romania, I live in Switzerland. We could do the lessons online per Skype. And yeah, that's what we did. And there I really started to learn the Romanian technique. So he gave me a lot of inputs on how I should phrase, how I should feel the music. And also a big teacher for me was even before that, I got the CD of Raluca. And there I just played along. So every day I just put on the CD on and tried to follow, and every other day a couple of more notes I was able to hit at the right time.
Great.
Yeah. So he was then really the start also into Romanian music. Okay. Exactly. And then later on, when I really started to develop to a higher level, I started with Stefan Negura to not only play Romanian music, but also to broaden my musical horizon and play classical music.
Classical music.
Yeah. And with him, I really started also to go deeper into the foundation musical techniques with playing a lot with scales, having warm-up techniques.
So your musical theory then was in the same time develop it, yes?
Yes, to a certain extent. Yeah, that's a bit the difficulty with the way of education in Switzerland, that you have a basic education. So I wasn't a focused education on music. So I had music theory background very limited. So with Radu I started with basic scales, so to get to know all the scales.
No, but I mean musical theory, you start to learn the notes, yes, to read the musical notes at the same time playing pan flute.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I didn't have any music theory before, so when I started to play the pan flute, I also started to learn to read the notes and to learn the names, and then bit by bit I learned a bit more, exactly.
So you arrived in Moldova and you work with Stefan Negura, son of Ion Negura.
Mhm.
So you get everything what you can get from the very good school
Yes.
that exists for Panflute.
Mhm.
And now you are in Netherlands with you are working with Matthijs,
Exactly. Yeah.
who is also student before from Michel Tirabosco.
Exactly. Yeah.
Michel Tirabosco is coming also from Switzerland. He was
Mhm.
also your teacher.
Yeah, exactly. A year before I started my studies at the conservatory in
He
Amsterdam.
prepared you for.
Yeah, I started to learn with him because I really enjoy his playing. I found him phenomenal. I also really like his approach to all different sorts of music. And there I also, what I really enjoyed is that I had the possibility of really having a broad spectrum of different teachers. And from every teacher I was able to get a bit their technique, their point of view, their perspective on pan flute. And yeah, that really helped me develop my own playing by getting so much information. Yeah.
So, is pan flute only instrument that you are playing?
It's the main instrument that I'm playing. I also started to play the piano.
At which age?
It's a good question. I think about 15, 14 years old.
Not
I
in
started.
the music school.
Yeah, well, it was also private lessons, but at a music school. Because also as a preparation for the conservatory, because I knew if I go to the conservatory, I will have a second instrument. And also for me, the piano in general was a very interesting instrument. And many people recommended me because it is a good foundation also for music theory to understand music.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, and there I started really to also see classical music from a very different point of view, because there I started to extensively work on the piano, which also, because at that time I didn't know where I would study, and there wasn't, the possibilities of studying were limited. So I also thought like maybe I would study with the piano and the pan flute. So there I prepared and really a lot, and it helped me also to gain a completely different perspective of practicing, because we have different techniques when it comes to playing the piano with the fingers. And to this day I also realize it when I practice a place that I now I could use this technique of learning this passage in a style like a piano player would learn. So it helped me all in all also to broaden.
Do you know how many university for pan flute exist?
I don't...
Where you can study pan flute?
Well, I know of Amsterdam. I know that in Romania and Moldova there's a possibility, and I know also that in Switzerland we have in Lucerne a possibility.
Who is their teacher?
Ogier is
Hans-Peter Ogier,
exactly,
also a very good friend of us. Maybe next guest from us.
Oh, great! Yeah.
Yes, we love Switzerland. A wonderful parcours, many teachers, nice results. You are also autodidact.
You could say, yeah, to a certain extent. The very first beginning was very autodidactic in a sense of, well, because I didn't know how to read music and I didn't have any idea of the instrument. I really just played melodies for myself. And that's also, my parents at the beginning weren't sure if I'm serious about it or if it's just a child's dream, to find this instrument which I didn't even know the name of, and I will lose interest in a couple of weeks. But they saw that I play, and it start to sound even more melodic. And then they say, yeah, maybe a teacher would be nice. But the beginning, yeah, was very autodidactic.
You are teaching in Switzerland or in Netherlands?
I have now been teaching in multiple festivals, giving master classes in Switzerland. But also I am teaching private lessons, and now soon in a music school in the Netherlands. As I'm now studying there, it's easier than to travel always.
Well, it will be difficult to ask you to try to give me a pamphlet lesson. Just for very beginner. Let's say I never played pamphlet. I'm playing piano, and I'm in love with this instrument, and I decide to to ask you to give me lessons. So you are not prepared. You just want to make me discover the pamphlet. So you want to try?
We could, yes.
Yes. Please give me one pamphlet.
Yes, one of the many.
You have to think that I never played pamphlet. I'm an adult. I believe that almost your students are adult.
Well, yeah, now 50-50 then with the school, but yeah, a lot of adults. Yeah.
They want to learn as a hobby. Yeah. So, okay, what are you doing for the very first lesson?
Yeah, I think I start with a bit of the fundamental to explain. Well, this instrument is quite a unique instrument in a sense that we have a diatonic scale. So every tube is one note. So we are blowing into the tube to result one certain pitch, and then we need to jump to get the melodies. What I always say is something very important about the holding the instrument and the posture, that you're very relaxed, because I think especially when you are only learning the instrument or getting used to it, you can very quickly get some stiffness into your playing, which can then be really hard to overcome. So my basic rule is that 99% of the weight is in your right hand. So you hold basically the flute in a way however is comfortable for you.
Maybe I should take a tenor pamphlet.
Maybe, yeah, you can also use mine for this example, or if you want, I can give you.
Yes, give me this one. Yes.
Exactly. Yeah, because then it's exactly, yeah, already very good. And then that the left hand has more, you use as a, to make stylization and to manipulate the sound. So you don't use it as a really to hold it. Yeah. So the foundation of your playing lays in the right hand. Exactly. What is important, I think, to also realize when you're playing, that you're basically creating the sound by blowing an airstream over the outer edge of the flute. So we will try when we play to have a focused airstream. So this is also what I say you can do, is you can blow out with a bit of tension in the lips, and with your finger to check really the airstream, how broad it is.
Yeah. Okay.
So you want to have it as focused as possible, because when we play, we try to be as efficient as possible, or as I like to put it, as lazy, to really not work a lot but have big result. And then standing, or as we are now sitting, really in a relaxed position, shoulders are relaxed. As a visualization, you have really like a sort of a line from the top of your head that pulls you up. So you have like, you sit upwards and you take the flute to your lips.
Directly, yeah?
Yeah, so I would put it at the edge of the lower lip. And then you breathe in.
Which pipe? Does it matter?
I normally, for beginners, I recommend not to use the lowest or the highest. Somewhere in the middle is the best, because the lower and the higher you get, you have certain difficulties, and the middle is like a bit of a sweet spot in that sense. So then just try out and...
Re? You try
For example, yeah. Exactly, yeah.
It's difficult.
Exactly.
You don't know.
Yeah, and often then at the beginning, I ask them if I can help to maybe put a bit the position in a better position. And also what I say for beginners is very good, is to experiment yourself. So to maybe try out extremes, and you very quickly start to realize where the sweet spot is. So if I hold the pan flute like this, it's not good. If I hold it like that, it's also not ideal. And then how straight, how tilted, they start rather quickly. Or if I see that they don't realize at the beginning, I help them a bit with adjusting. But the most important thing is just the position, to be relaxed and to have a controlled stream of air. And that's, I start with that, with one tone, then have a number of notes, so the without jumps, just and then maybe start
This
to
on the
introduce...
first lesson? I can do this?
Well, it depends on the students. It really depends on the student.
After pan flute, what's behind Taras? What likes Taras? What kind of music do you like to listen? What do you like to do? Do you have hobby?
Well, I would say I'm in a very fortunate position that my hobby is everything I do. So I'm deeply in love with playing music, making music. This really now also as a student takes most of my day. Music I like to listen to. I love all kinds of music. I listen a lot to classical, to jazz, but also to more modern music, to pop, to maybe also a bit of rap.
All the good music, do you mean?
Yeah, well, there are certain music that I don't really enjoy, but I'm really open, and I like to see new musicians from like electronic music or something completely different, which I don't play, but just listening to it, I really enjoy it. Gives ideas and also been something to try out.
George Enescu, the Romanian composer, say that exist two kinds of music, good and bad.
Okay.
So doesn't matter the style, only the quality.
That's true, yeah.
So with piano, you enjoy to play with someone else?
Well, for my students, I accompany, or like when I give a master class, and in the evening I can play a bit. But I mostly learn for myself as a like solo piano classical pieces. Yeah. So that's the most thing I play. I play more together with other people when I play the pan flute.
And if you have one, let's say, idea to listen one pan flute player, what you will choose to listen?
Well, at the moment, what I listen a lot to is Dragici.
Dragic?
I really enjoyed what he did in the jazz world with the pan flute.
Fantastic, yes.
Yeah, it's a great inspiration. So I listen to a lot of his music at the moment. Well, George Zamfir is also somebody I listen to. Then Damian Luca.
You still have good records of Damian Luca.
Yeah, I was through friends and also Ulrich Herkenhof. He gave me a lot of vinyls, which he had copies of. And I have now a lot in Switzerland. And what I try to do is digitalize a lot of the music, and I have now on my phone. Yeah, so I listen to really a broad spectrum. Also Ulrich Herkenhof I listen to, Tira Bosco I listen to, yeah. So there is anything new in the panflute world.
So you like to listen?
Yes, well, it's maybe not the most I listen to. In the last couple of months, I in general didn't have so much time to listen really to music. I was more focused on playing my things, preparing for concerts and doing that. We have the situation that we don't have classical music
especially for panflute.
Written for panflute, exactly.
Yes.
So I really enjoy to listen to originals and really get inspiration from that.
This little country Moldova has not only very good panflute players and a very good teacher here in Negura, they had also many composers who made especially for panflute many songs.
Yeah. So that's a piece specially written for panflute.
For panflute, yes.
That's great.
I think for Stefan, many composers know Stefan and they compose especially for him.
That's great. Yeah. That's. I think that's really important also for the panflute world.
Yes.
To get our repertoire to really have our music.
Yes, and to put in a good light this instrument.
Yes.
Because you can play a lot of Baroque music, but the people has in the ear another instrument and not very easy they accept the panflute. But when they hear the composers from East Europe, then it's something that they don't know and they catch directly to the sound and they put it near to the other instrument. That's one of the most difficult thing for I think many good teachers fight for this, that the panflute can stay near to one violin solo, near to every good and complete instrument.
Yeah.
The panflute, it's in instrument incomplete. You don't have many possibilities. When you play traverso, yes, or violin, you can exemplify everything. If you have to imitate, yes, to one instrument, what do you choose?
For classical music, or
yes, or Romanian music, because you are very good in both.
In Romanian music, I often also take part of the violin. I really like the virtuosic things they do on the violin.
Tell me one violin player.
You put me on the spot.
Benone Damian, you know Benone Damian?
Yeah, my
He's living in Switzerland. I don't know, is he still alive?
Oh, I couldn't tell you.
I don't think so. It's a long time ago.
What I do is I just go on YouTube and they recommend me already now a lot of like Moldovan or Romanian music, and I just take like music that I like and I try to transcribe it for our instrument.
Yeah, there are many violin players for Romanian music too.
Yeah. No, there in folk music I take from quite a lot. Classical music, it's a bit harder. Because as you told, the problem is a bit, we don't have a repertoire, so we need to take from other instruments, the repertoire. And in classical music, it's old music, which is very, very refined. So we have already amazing musicians, so wonderful recordings of pieces. And then when we played on the panflute, we have a instrument with a lot of possibilities, but also a lot of limitations. So there we need to make compromises, and it is hard to strike the balance between making compromises to play the piece and also to keep the character of the piece intact.
Yes.
So there, before I played all kind of music. Now I try to be a bit more limited. What I like often is to take from the voice, for example, because there it is. Well, the voice has a big dynamic range, which is also a feature of the panflute. We have incredible dynamic possibilities, which other instruments can just envy us.
I should also compare voice with panflute.
Yeah, I really enjoy it a lot. I think it's a great match to a certain extent, but it really depends on the music. Violin. The problem is the violin can play so artistically clear and quick, with a lightness and character, which is extremely hard to replicate on the panflute. And that's why I often, like Flight of the Bumblebee of Rimsky-Korsakov, I think it's hard to get an audience for this music if they can decide to listen to the original on violin or listen to a version on panflute. It's hard to make people interested, because we need to make a lot of compromises, and it is quite hard to keep the character of the piece.
Yeah, and to respect the score.
Exactly, yeah.
Yes, but there are enough songs, enough composition.
Yes,
but it's true, from violin you can adapt it a lot. Okay, he is Czepurashka. What about your rules? You have two different origin.
Yeah, well, my father is Swiss and my mother is Ukrainian. So I have also a bit a closer connection to Eastern Europe. I really enjoy playing now also Ukrainian music.
Wonderful.
Before I didn't have teachers who played Ukrainian music, and now when I started also to more be independent and making my own arrangement and things, I really started to transcribe music from Ukrainian folk music. So this is something I really enjoy. Swiss folk music less so. It is very different music. This I do less, but Ukrainian I really enjoy.
And so you have brothers and sisters?
Yes, yeah. I have two brothers. I have a younger and an older brother.
Two brothers, two boys.
Exactly, yes. I am the middle one.
Okay.
Exactly.
What's the name?
My younger is Edwin Berchtold, and the older is Mark Berchtold. We are all doing a bit our own things, so I'm playing a lot of music.
And they play also music?
The younger brother, he played a lot of accordion, but he also does step dance. So
Edwin.
Edwin plays now less the accordion because of school, and he steps on a very high level now. He needed a bit to decide on what to do, and he now focuses a lot on step dance. So Edwin is now participating in the World Championship and the European Championship.
Oh, okay, so we know your rules. We know that you don't have any other hobby than panflute.
Well, to a most extent, I do a bit of sport and
yes.
Yeah, go to the cinema.
And you like to cook?
Ooh,
No, you like cinema, so
yeah. Well, it's something I like to go to watch a movie with my girlfriend and to relax a bit after a day of.
how old are you?
Well, I'm 23 now.
23. So you have a girlfriend
Yes, I do.
on
Yeah.
this moment. She's playing music.
Yes, yeah, she is a very talented pianist. Anastasia Bohodistas, she is a very...
Ah, so I saw her on the affiche, on the posters of your concert.
Yes.
So you are playing this, together. You are
Exactly.
a great duo.
Yes.
What a match.
Yeah, I got very, very lucky, yes.
Yeah, she too.
I hope so, yeah. Yeah, she comes also from Ukraine. We met at the conservatory because due to the war in Ukraine, she had to flee, and we met at the conservatory. And now, because I have the possibility to play so much with such a talented pianist, I obviously took the chance, and we are now playing a lot of concerts also in the Netherlands, but also in Switzerland. Yeah.
Okay, this is great. So let's talk a little bit about Panflute techniques. So what do you find that's very interesting in learning Panflute?
I think the Panflute is a very, very unique instrument in that sense that it is a very simple instrument in its form of, it's just a row of tubes. But because it's that simple, it has a lot of possibilities. So we have an almost unlimited amount of articulation, of pitches. This makes it so hard for intonation.
Yeah.
But we have every pitch possible. So we have not only in the piano, which is chromatic, we have every single pitch. We have extreme dynamic ranges. So this is really some strong points.
How do you make the second position, so the chromatic position? Can you tell us something about, and what do you think is the best best way to make the half tone, so the chromatic notes?
The half tones I do a lot, mostly with my jaw. So by moving the jaw, I change the position. But not only, I use a bit of a mixture between different techniques, depending on, because that's also a bit a difficulty of our instrument, that depending in which octave you're playing, we have to adapt. So in the low register, we have really big tubes. We have to really tune low to have really a flat. What an ideal technique is, I think it's hard to say generally, because we are all very different, and it is a very personal instrument. We are very close to the instrument, so everybody has different lips, has a bit a different finish on the flute. What I like to have a very technical approach to it. So to say a half tone is generated by covering a part of the flute. So however you want to cover the part is up to you. I think what's very important in everything we do is that we are very efficient, so that we don't do big motions which do little results. So
big moving.
What I don't like is
to move like this.
To move like that, or only to move like that, because the problem is to just change the angle of the flute doesn't do a flattening. So I use a combination of the jaw, of maybe a bit pushing in, but I don't have so big lips, so for me it's a bit harder to do that.
Yeah, for me too.
Yeah, so that's also why I don't like to give like one rule how we should do the flattening, because for other people pushing in is way easier. What also I do is a bit in combination with moving the flutes downwards, as I have then the part of the lip that covers the flute, and then also a bit in combination with changing the angles.
Tell me, Matthijs Kuna, great panflute player. I love his sound, his technique. How he is doing the half tone, so the second position?
That's a good question. I don't think he does it with the jaw, because his approach is also, he doesn't care how I do it. He says he wants clean intonation. So if the end result is good, if I have good intonation, then it doesn't matter for him. I think he does also a combination with lowering the flute and with changing the angle. Exactly. So, but Matthijs' approach is really a very open one. So if you have your technique, which you can do easily, and you have a good intonation, he doesn't mind. So there's also something I really enjoy being a student of his, that we have really more of a discussion. So he talks about what he does and the approaches, and he's very, very open.
how do you work the briefing with the students? How do you do yourself? I know that Mateus Kuna is great in a double briefing, so
Yeah, with the
playing
circle
and
briefing,
so
yeah.
circle briefing. Yes.
Mhm.
So did you learn this?
Yes, it was a hard journey. It took a while, but now I finally am able. Well, I'm
You are
still
learning this.
improving
Yes.
it. I can do it, but I want to do it better, so I'm still working on that. The most important thing with breathing is that we breathe with the diaphragm,
Mm-hmm.
so that we don't have a high or a flat breathing, but we
Of
really
course,
use the full amount of lung that we have, because otherwise it's wasted potential. For teaching, what I like, if people don't even know about the diaphragm muscle, to really say, like, if you are like really a good laugh and you feel like your belly is moving, then you know this is the muscle that you need to use to activate. And then what is good is if you use a bit of pressure on the belly, and then try to breathe and see if you, when you're breathing in, if you're pushing your hands up or whatever you put, so you have a bit of counterweight.
So when you change register on the Panflute, do you work with diaphragm?
Well, I always breathe with diaphragm.
No, you are using the belly. Yes, you are working. You are working. So in different registers. So when you play down, yes, low notes, and when you are playing high, do you try to combine your emission of sound and working with the diaphragm? No.
For articulation purposes?
No,
or?
for piano, for dynamic.
Yeah, for dynamics. Yeah, of course. I think it's important to have always an active body, so not to be, because if you're too relaxed, you tend to lose a bit control of your sound. But what we need to do in our instrument is that we need to adapt. So the way I'm playing in the low octave is not the same as how I play high, because we have completely different tubes, different diameters we need to adapt. So there also articulation and dynamic, I need to be a bit more careful or push less in the upper register than when I play really low.
And in the new generation, is there a Panflute player that you listen, that you see growing?
New generation
Yes, can be before 30 years old, something like around 30 years old.
Well, I think Mariana Preda and Kristina Petko are great. I enjoy. I don't really know of a lot of other, to be honest. Yes.
You know Andrei Druță?
Yeah. True, Andrei Druță,
Yeah. Do you know Andrei Akira?
Yeah, of course. Yes.
Yes, Hans-Peter Rogier is also very young.
Yeah.
And very different technique. Yes, he brought a lot for Panflute, I see. Also, so Mateus Kuna and Hans-Peter Rogier, they are very good. The new teacher in the place of Father Ion Negura, it's Andrei Druță.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he also plays great. Yeah. He's a very great Panflute player.
So our podcast, it's calling Panflute World. So that's why we talk about all the Panflute players from around the world. How do you find the Panflute and so around the world? Do you know other countries that the ones from Europe that they are developing Panflute? What do you think?
Well, I know they have a very they have an active scene in Latin America, but it is quite different from the music we play because it's their folk music and also the instrument is quite different.
Different, yeah.
So there, I also in detail I don't really know. I heard that Taiwan and China they really started to develop, which I find is great. I think the more the merrier. The more people are really starting to play and get interest into the instrument. I'm really happy to see that. Yeah.
Okay, in Japan also.
Yes.
We have one student, Fumiko Sakuraoka, the family name I'm not sure. Yes, she is working a lot, and she has a lot of students also in the one high school in Japan.
Yeah, true. Japan is also East Asia is really there.
So
a lot of work. There a lot of development.
In Korea also they have many panflute players. They have there one. Of the students of Father Ion Negura, Chang Guin.
Yeah.
He is a great panflute player. Yes. And so you know China, yes?
Yeah.
In China they are growing a lot. They have a good conservatory director in Xi'an, and he holds a lot the panflute. So, but other countries that I don't know, learn us something.
Something that I know, but you don't know. That's difficult. You're very well informed, much better than I am. So it's hard.
Now we get to the end of our podcast. So. I have two questions. What do you think about the future of panflute?
Well, what I hope for the future of panflute is what we also talked a bit about is that the panflute gets its own big repertoire, because I think that's something that at the moment is a bit maybe a handicap to a certain extent, especially like in the classical scene, as we talked, and something that also Matthijs Kroene did an amazing job, because he really made hundreds or got hundreds of pieces, contemporary music made for the panflute to really to get a big repertoire. Because the problem is when we are in the classical scene and we only have to copy other people, it's hard to get taken serious as an independent serious instrument. Yeah, because as we talked about, we need to make compromises, and that's why I think it's very important that we have good composers that really make music for our instrument, because classical composers, they made a piece for the violin and they knew exactly what the violin, how it sounds good, what it can do well, and they wrote for that. And the same thing should happen also for the panflute. So music where you can really shine with all the different articulation and with the dynamics. And I think for this is also an important step is contemporary music. Because
do you have in conservatory composition of Stefan Stanciu?
At the conservatory, well, not that I have played yet.
That does exist in the programma. They use his composition. Mariana Preda play in the festival of Liselot in Czechia, Liselot Rokica. She organized a very good festival.
Yeah.
So Mariana Preda came there and played contemporary music, so composed by Stefan Stanciu. But so
we are in the Conservatory van Amsterdam. We are very free. So
but almost character from the conservatory in Amsterdam, it's contemporary music.
Yeah, well, it is also because it's a bit also the thing that Matthijs really hopes for is that we get our music made, and we are also have people that play it, our music, but I can bring whatever I want. So I not only play contemporary, I also love classical music, and I think it would be a pity if I wouldn't play it. So it's a bit of, I play both. I want to have music for the panflute playing, but I want also to have classics from Baroque, Romanticism.
Yes, this is our history. We have to know.
Yeah, exactly.
Our culture, all the other instruments before that they arrive. A big instrumentist, they have to learn all the styles.
Yeah, so in the conservatory, it's not as much of they have a strict rule of pieces. So when I ask for pieces, if I don't know what to play next, Matthijs gives me one of the hundreds that were written for him, or like pieces also that he were maybe not written for the panflute. For example, the piece that I will be playing tomorrow at the concert, it's For Bourdon by Manneke, Dutch composer. He originally wrote it for the flute, but he worked then together with Matthijs, and they saw that this piece really fitted the panflute because it has an extreme dynamics, it has really crazy sounds, effects.
And how do you do this effect? With in one moment it's like the bourdon. Yes.
Yeah.
How do you do this?
This is I sing and I play at the same time. So you are singing with your voice and you're playing and you're blowing. So this is part also of a really, I must say, a fantastic job that Matthijs did with really creating this extended techniques of circular breathing on the panflute, of having double stops, so playing two tones at the same time, having the singing and playing, and all this time. Yeah, all these different kind of melodies using overtones on the panflute.
Yes.
So using those frequencies, the overtones of the panflute, this is something completely new. So
flageolet, we call this.
Yes, yeah, exactly. On the violin it's a flageolet, exactly. And yeah, it's coming to Amsterdam, it really opens my eyes for, I don't know, the 10th time with this instrument to see what everything is possible. And I think we need to have music written for our instrument.
You have many students at Panflute?
At the Conservatory van Amsterdam?
No, yes.
At the moment, sadly not. So anybody that sees it.
You are only one in this
year now, yeah. Yes. I really highly recommend coming to Amsterdam to take lessons. For me, it's broadened my horizon. Also, it's the techniques that we use, we can implement everywhere. So I use circular breathing in classical music because sometimes you want to have a phrase longer than your breath can hold, so you circle breathe. And also just to have
you should learn me this.
I will. It's a.
Do you want to make one now to show me how?
Oof, you put me on the spot. I'm still practicing, so it's maybe not ideal. And in theory, you can do it without a break, indefinitely. You see, I'm still working. The sound isn't ideally stable, so that's a really
great,
an amazing technique, which I didn't even know it was possible on the panflute. I think.
it's great. Everything what he discovered and he brought to us for Panflute.
Mhm.
You have a message for Panflute players
Come to Amsterdam.
to
Yeah,
study? Yes.
this I really and explore, do a lot with the instrument, because the instrument is really, really old. It's one of the oldest instruments, but I would also say it's really young.
Mhm.
The way we are playing now really started 100 years ago with Raluca, so it's really young. We
Yes.
haven't yet explored everything, so I really encourage people to try everything out with the Panflute.
Father Negura, before that he died, a few days before, he received the prize for the best teacher in arts. And he say that Panflute made just 5%. So it's open
Absolutely, yeah. I think
for everything.
it is in its beginning phase of really becoming an instrument like the flute, like the violin, of high standard. But for this we need people that are engaged, that really also try out. And I think that's the most important thing, which I want the world to say, that don't be hesitant to try something out that nobody did, because at the moment it's very likely you're doing something great that just nobody has tried yet. So do that. Yeah.
Is there something that you can recommend to the Panflute players? One exercise, if I should say something, when I got married with Stefan, Father Negura come to my ears and say, don't forget to make long notes.
Yes.
So what do you recommend to the Panflute players?
Yeah.
It's not only long notes.
Long notes, it's, also being a student from Stefan Negura, I learned a lot long notes. I didn't like it to play it, but I had to realize that it is an extremely important exercise.
Yeah.
So I can only say long notes is really it's an amazing exercise.
The must.
Yeah.
The must to be.
I think people shouldn't be afraid to go very to the basic. So even if you are playing very technically well, I think it's important to go really back and just try to make one note perfect intonation. And then what I also recommend is to do the scales, because when you play classical music, when you play jazz or all different kind of music, you won't be only in G major. You will also have to go into other tonalities, and if you practice those, it will really help you. And I often do on top on the scales. I practice jumps, I practice flattening, I practice articulation, dynamic. But as a fundamental base, I would say scales and just long notes is
it's very good.
Yeah,
to do.
I think if you do those every day, you're very well covered.
So, dear Taras, you was our guest to the second edition of Panflute Paradise Festival, and I was in love with your playing.
Oh, thank you
You
so
are
much.
inspired many Panflute players, and I don't say for nothing that you are adored around the world. What is your dream?
To inspire even more people, I think. To help or try to be part of doing the next step in the Panflute world. So to really push forward the Panflute in becoming this recognized serious instrument, not only in folk music but also in classical or be it also jazz. Yeah, so this is really my dream, to go further and try to make even more for the Panflute, because it's an instrument that I really love, and I see the incredible potential it has, and I would love to be part and help it grow to bigger dimensions.
So we too, we have the same dream. Me and Stefan and his father and all the Panflute players that are close friends from us, we want the same. So not so long time ago, Father Negura disappeared, and he control one of our books that we would like to make you a present.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
This is Panflute Education #1 by Negura and Raluca.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Stefan and Raluca, yes.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm always very intrigued because our instrument is such a new instrument, seeing different techniques,
Yes, all the teachers. So Costel Pușcoiu made a lot of books. I used to work also with his books, but like everyone, chef cook, maybe he wants to make his sauce. Yes, maybe you will make also your book.
Maybe someday. I think I myself have still so much to learn, and I want to first really explore all the different things that already now are made. But yeah, maybe sometimes in the future.
Yes, do it. I encourage you to do it. So thank you very much, Taras.
Thank you.
Thank you to your family that they made such a great person that you are. And we hope to see you again for our concerts and also here to come to record in our studio.
I hope so too, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you.